It's time for an inspection. Suspension inspection.
Aftermath of race 1. Right, show me the damage.
We had a pretty wild time at the first race of the year. It was the season opener with big crowds. Our merch arrived the morning before the races, and we had achieved all of our goals, which was to build a reliable race car and score enough points to make the main event. If you want to watch the race episode, I'll leave a link in the description below.
Front end, I don't think we got any front end damage. It's all at the back here. Brand new panels, creased. I don't even know how that happened. Like, how does a car even get that high to hit that? And then Paul Sam's new fabricated bar, it's been bent. We lost 2 bolts, so our wing panel was just flapping around. It's sort of cosmetic stuff, really. It's nothing important. It just sucks, you know, because it was new. But no, it's not new. But at least now it's got damage, then it doesn't hurt when it gets more damage. You know,
yeah.
It's already been hit.
And it also officially matches the rest of the car.
Ah, true, yeah.
It looked a bit out of place being so new.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It just wasn't right. So, yeah, thank you to whoever did that. Not really. Fuck you. I think that actually adjusts.
We're taking some time to learn more about the setup of the car today. So the only other thing we got that could be ride height are these top shock mounts.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, okay, I can see it now. I thought they were welded to the chassis.
We have some white lines where they possibly used to run the car, and I'm wondering if the rear of the car is too high, because it's like on the highest setting. Yeah. And you can see where the lines were where they used to set the ride height. Brad's main comments after the first race were lack of grip from the rear and struggling to turn the car. Possibly we could lower the rear a little bit, and then we need to find out, because we got the measurements for ride height, but we need to find out where to measure it from.
It's hard because I did see somewhere it said that you just measure it from the chassis
to the floor.
Yeah, but like where on the chassis, you know? Measure.
Or if we decide on an area,
then
that is where we measure it every time.
Yeah.
So if we lower it, we know how much we've lowered it by.
Yeah.
Or we lift it, vice versa.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Our plan is to lower the rear of the car to put more weight on the rear tyres. This will generate heat and grip. And then for the front and the turn-in, we're looking into running stiffer springs to make the front end more responsive. This is our theory, but reality might be a little different.
You're ready to spring into action.
You know, if we measure the ride height and it's supposed to be like 5 inches on the front, and then 5.5 on the rear or something.
Yeah, only an inch from the rear and the front, but it's like half an inch from right rear to left rear. So it's like 5.5, 5, 4.5, 4.
Because at the moment the car is kind of sat like this, and Brad is struggling to find grip on the rear, and he's spinning out quite easily. So, and then it's not generating that much heat in the tyres. So the idea is we're going to sit the car in more of a neutral position and get some weight over the back tyres and get the car driving forward a bit better. And just try and learn what that does as well. If we lower the rear ride height and lift the front ride height, we're going to go out and it's going to teach us what changes, and Brad's going to give the feedback, and hopefully it's a positive one. It's a shame we're not getting all the new stuff now.
Today.
Yeah, that's going to have to wait till the next video.
But at least you'll have it till the next race.
Yeah, the
next
big race, Gladstone the car will be fully modded.
Yeah, at least like Gladstone race is part of the series that we're running, the EFS series. Yeah. So that's the one that really counts. This weekend at Gympie is more of like a let's change the car and then see what it feels like. From the start, I've never actually ever looked at my suspension setup at all, because I just wanted to get some laps, you know. So now that we've got the car to a point where we're comfortable, it's reliable, it's doing everything we want, now we're starting to look at like the important stuff, like our setup. So I've pulled out all the shocks in the car and then our spares, and I've written on them what they are. So we've got a 30-30, a 40-20 in these two, and then I've gone through and done the same. The only thing I'm not sure about is our spring rates, because some of them are written on there, like this one's got like, I don't know if you can see that little scratch. It's got 225 on it. This is something that we need. We need this 225 on our right front. Our current settings, The only one that was actually correct was our left rear, which we've got a 30-30 and a 140 spring. I'll show you in a sec. I pulled this out of the car yesterday. This is a 30-30, and this one here is also a 30-30. And if I just take these collars off.
40-20 are the damping settings, so it's compression and rebound. So like for example, the 40-20, the 40 is compression, we think.
Yeah.
At the moment, we think it's compression, and the 20 is rebound, so it's stronger compression, less rebound. But this is like an even shock 30-30, so it's the same compression and rebound.
So these both should return at the same rate, but one of them is way faster than the other one. But they're supposed to be the same setting. So obviously this one's been leaking a little bit of fluid, like oil, but or something, I don't know what the go is. And yeah, it's just like the setup from the start has just not been correct. We're just going to work with what we've got this weekend at Gympie, try and make something work. Yeah, go from there.
And if this is a 225 and we measure the wire diameter, we've got basically 9.5 millimeter wire diameter for a 225. So any of these that are the same will be the same. See, this is an 8.5, so we know that's softer.
Yeah.
So it's probably a 200.
Yeah.
Probably. Softer. 10, so that's stiffer. So it's stiffer. So it could be like a 230 or 240 or something.
Yeah.
9.9, so that's in between. It's mad that these are all different. 10 again. 10.3. It's probably the stiffest one out of all of them. 9.3. So it's a little softer. And then this one's no good. We can't run that because it's too small and it'll get coil bound.
Yeah.
8.9. So that's softer again. So what was this one? 8.5. So they're all different.
Yeah. We
They're
know this
all
one.
different.
This is our smallest one, and I've seen on here. Yeah, look, it's written 140.
140. So
So
we're going to need that.
Yeah. What was that? 8.5.
Yeah. So that's the softest one you've got. The next one up is an 8.9.
9.
That was also on the car.
Oh,
Oh,
175.
There we go.
Okay.
Don't ask for advice.
We're seeking advice, not giving
Yeah.
advice. We're advice receivers, not givers.
The students, not the teachers.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
But we don't have a teacher, so we're trying to teach ourselves.
Yeah. Okay.
So what we got?
140, 175.
That's a good start because I think
Yeah, we need both.
Both of those.
Yeah.
So that's actually really good.
If we're going from online setting, we need a spring between 190 and 200, which hopefully maybe it might be that one, because what size
That's
is that?
225. So I think this is a 200.
Yeah, well, so we need that. So I might just write 200 with a question mark.
Yeah, if it's not 200, it's like a 195 or something.
Yeah.
It is.
So we'll put 200 on here.
140, 175. That's a great start. 200. Then we got a 225,
Which we also need. Which
this is our car then, basically, these four springs.
Yeah. That 225 is not on this base setting sheet that I have, but when I called the shop and asked for some advice, we're getting a 225 spring sent to us, so they think 225 is a good base, so we're going to use that.
Yeah. So these four springs here is our setup for
Yeah.
Gympie that we're going to test.
Yeah.
And then when we get the new shocks and springs, we will probably stick to this spring rate,
Yeah.
but put the new ones on.
Yeah.
And then we'll keep these as spares.
Yeah.
We'll paint them and make them look pretty, keep
Yeah,
them
yeah.
as spares. And then these three are just some stiff, oddball
Yeah.
ones, which
Yeah.
I think are going to be far too stiff for
Yeah.
what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah. What's this one?
No wonder you were struggling.
It's a 40-20, but it's no good. It's bent. And then I've just realised
That one of these is as
that
well.
one
Yeah.
has also been. So
It just stops.
yeah, it's just getting caught on something because the shaft has been.
It's only slight, but it's enough that it binds
Yeah.
up on the seal.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, we could still use these ends.
Yeah, for sure. So really, at the moment, we only have one spare, but I don't think it's any good because
It don't seem like it's holding much pressure.
no. Like if you look at that, that's what is that, a 40-20?
Yeah, it should shoot up.
Yeah, and this is a 30-30, and like they're,
Wow, yeah.
you know, they should be a little bit faster, I think.
Yeah.
I actually have 0 spares until our new stuff arrives.
Yeah, it'd be really cool actually, because if we get these set up and make them look nicer, they can go straight in the spares box, and we literally have 2 of everything that
Yeah.
we know we're going to use.
Yeah.
So this ain't a waste of time.
No.
We just need to make sure we get these damping settings on the right corners as well.
Is that the graveyard, is it?
Yeah, there's about what's that, nearly $1,300 of shocks.
If you want one of these as a souvenir, just email us and we'll send you it.
You'll sign it and then send it.
Yeah.
If you know a good welder, this is savable.
While Brad continued building the shocks and setting the preload, I turned my attention to some of the more basic maintenance we needed to do. After every race, without fail, we drop the oil, change the filter, we clean out the air filter, do some basic checks. We nut and bolt the whole car. We check to make sure nothing's come loose. We found the chassis was fine after the race, but a lot of the bodywork mounts have either just disappeared or rattled loose, so we need to address that and fix that up today. I've already done the oil, well, Brad done the oil, so it's got fresh oil with filter ready to go for the gimpy. This is the oil breather that we were talking about that was leaking oil. It used to come straight off the back of the motor and it leaked pretty bad. Then we added a hose and we had it sitting like here and it was still pushing oil. And I think it's to do with the G-force of the motor. So when he's turning left, and he only turns left, all the oil in the motor is sitting this side of the engine, and every now and again it just blows a bit of oil. So we run the crankcase breather up to here, so the G-force is pushing this way, and since we've been running it here and not over there, it hasn't pushed any oil. So we're pretty confident. The whole race meeting, it didn't push any oil out, and it's clean and dry. We'll just airline it out, get all the clay out of it. So yeah, I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna check all the exhaust bolts. You can see all the damage on the bodywork from the clay. It's pretty gnarly. It's just ripped all the paint off of all the bars here, and it's mainly this side of the car that seems to be getting all the damage. These are the spacers. So when Brad was talking about moving spacers, these are the spacers he's referring to, and basically it will move the whole wheel on the car out or in. I don't fully understand what the spacers are doing exactly and when to change spacers, but as soon as I'm learning more about it, I'll explain it all. At this point, I understand the logic, but I don't really understand how it gains grip or loses grip by adding or removing spacers. So I'm looking forward to learning more about that.
Yeah, what happened?
So after the first heat race, I was like using the brakes pretty heavy. So obviously the fluid got hot. Then when I was rolling back around to the trailer, I was like, I could see my dad standing in front of the trailer, and I like turned in and I pushed the brake, but the pedal went straight to the floor and I had no brakes.
You got no brakes?
So I like told him to move in my hand, but he just tried to catch the car from hitting the trailer, and I couldn't stop, and it just smashed the trailer. So, but,
And your dad?
yeah, and Dad, yeah, he copped it in the leg.
We're not that far away from being done. It's just can't injure the race car driver the day before a race. Working out at the front end is just still not right. I know we've been saying it since day one, but it's still not perfect. I kept saying that to him at work. Don't you get injured? He goes, yeah, but if I get injured, we might go faster because we can get a better driver. I'm like, oh yeah, good point.
Sometimes the truth hurts.
There's only one Brad the lad.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a clipboard.
I started making a record of all of our setup changes.
Someone in the comments is just sitting there at home like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what are these absolute idiots doing?
So we have these data sheets, and it's got your chassis set up with your spring and shock set up in the middle, and then on the outside, these are each corner. So on the outside you've got your tyres, tyre pressures for each corner, springs for each corner, and then down here is loads of jargon that I don't understand yet. But we are also, I know this one, and that's the diff, and we're going for gear set 4 in this car because we switched it to gear set 3 for the longer track. Now we're going back to a shorter track, gear set 4.
so this is gear set 4. This controls our like speed per gear, basically. So when we were at Kingaroy, we had this gear set in the car, and pretty much like we want to run second gear basically all the time. And at Kingaroy, I was running out of second gear. I was just hitting the limiter. So to increase second gear, you increase your gear size in the diff. So we've got at the moment we've got a bigger gear set in the diff, and we ran that out to Toowoomba, but it still wasn't enough. But we're going to Gympie this weekend, so that's only a small track, and we'll chuck these in, and yeah, see how we go. It should be fine. I've run this gear set at Gympie before, and it was alright. Behind this cover, this is called a quick change diff, because you just take this cover off and you can quickly change the gears. It's pretty handy. But yeah, I'll undo these bolts and we'll pull the cover off. It will drain all the diff oil out. We'll take out the old gears, put the new gears in, and then fill it up.
Another successful day in the bag.
Yeah, I would say very successful.
Cars back together in one piece.
Yep.
Ready for Gympie tomorrow.
All about the tits.
So if you want to see more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can buy a team shirt. They are available right now.